incredibly, he's looking for a double hat-trick for 6 race wins on the trot. And a few too many DNFs in the first few rounds of the season, but he's coming good now. He's the form driver. Tom Blomqvist there to the right of him in the Jugonia. I am with Carl in car. And then we have in third place on the grid Felix Rosenqvist. They're being sent off now onto their formation lap, a second formation lap for them. Esteban Ocon in 4th position has been self-critical of his starts. They're being sent off because there's Dennis van der Laar's car which has stalled on the grid. So a false start. They're being sent round again, and that is the reason that at the very last second there that start was aborted. So sent back around again. Here's a restart. Dennis van der Laar, 19th on the grid, pulled out. So he realised there was a problem and got out of the way. That was sensible stuff, wasn't it? Because he knew there was a line of cars right behind him. The green flag was waved to say the grid was cleared, but then look at the last second, the yellow light started to flash, the signal to the drivers that this was not going to be the start of the race. So Dennis van der Laar's had a difficult weekend. He was one of several drivers that got caught up in several pile-ups in the first race yesterday, which was interrupted by 4 safety cars. We had 2 safety cars in the earlier race today, and we had a race stoppage as well because the race started in dry conditions. Then it started to rain. They all had slick tyres on, so the race was red flagged quite rightly. And there was a delay of maybe 10 to 15 minutes while drivers and teams changed to wet tyres, and then we had a restart over 12 minutes. So the Dutch driver there, Dennis van der Laar, in the number 26 Prema Power Team car, one of the Mercedes-Benz powered cars. Very disappointing for him. If they can get it fired up, he might be able to start from the pit lane exit, but the Zandvoort-based driver, just 20 years of age, in his 2nd season of Formula 3 competition, has been a points finisher over the last couple of years, but he's looking unlikely to pick up any points here with this one. So for the 2nd time of asking, it might be a start this time for Max Verstappen and the rest of the field. 25 cars now on the circuit. Question mark over whether Dennis van der Laar is going to be able to get his car into the race. So can Verstappen do even more damage to the championship leader Esteban Ocon, who is there, 2nd back on the right, the championship leader, backed by the Lotus driver program. Right, revs build. Everybody seems to be okay this time. Red lights come on, and they now go out. The final race of the weekend gets underway. Max Verstappen off to a terrific start. His starts have been absolutely superb for somebody who's not used to standing starts, having had rolling starts in his karting career. He's done well, but look at Esteban Ocon there from 4th place, and we got one off in the barriers towards the back of the field. Oh, and Jake Dennis goes down the inside and clatters into, I think, Tom Blomqvist. There's a queue formed up behind there. Antonio Fuoco and 6 or 7 other drivers are just stranded down there at the hairpin. They're selecting reverse gear. John Bright Meinsler spins around. Fuoco gets going again. And at the top of the screen, there was another car off in the barriers as well, which looked like one of the either the Muka Motorsport car or the similar liveried car of Tatiana Calderon. You can see that 2 of the Muka Motorsport cars are there. Number 27 Rosenqvist and number 3 which is our Jake Dennis gets out of the car. There he goes, walking away. So terrific first 2 races, but disaster for him and for many others here in this first race. And no surprises, the safety car is coming out. I suspect it's either Nissani or Calderon that went off on that first kink into the barriers. And here we get a replay then. Absolutely perfect start for the top 2. Ocon I was keeping an eye on, and there was the contact, and it was Roy Nissani that went off into the barriers after contact with Jules Sinkoviak, who's been in 1 or 2 incidents this weekend, including getting penalised for an incident with Michele Beretti yesterday. And then Jake Dennis up the inside, up off the track completely, beyond the white line, just went straight on, locked up, because it's still damp off the racing line, of course, locked up on the slick tyres, and as he speared back onto the circuit, he caused a bit of carnage. So there Roy Nissani sent off, look, and the right rear tyre was already off the rim from the contact, so he got no control over the car as he went into the barrier. And then almost at the same time this was happening, this second incident, with everybody then from about 3rd place back delayed or hit, and spearing right across the circuit there, right in front of Gustavo Meneses, was Roy Nissani. That was a really hairy moment on a really fast part of the circuit. Hopefully Roy is okay. Now keep an eye to the right of the picture there. The red nose, the yellow helmet, Jake Dennis. He gets a lock up there, So certainly wasn't intentional. It was going up the inside, gets a lock up, and that was when he then started to get out of control. Bodywork absolutely everywhere in this race, because I think more than half the field have been involved in an incident somewhere or another. There's Jules Simkowiak, who was involved in the very first incident before we even got to the first kink. He's got damage too, and I'm glad to say that Roy Nassani, the Israeli driver from Tel Aviv, is getting out of the car, because that was a pretty heavy impact with the barriers. So we had two incidents there, one off the start, one into the first corner, chain reaction. Jules Simkowiak's trying to get his car with one completely bent track rod back to the pits, and Jake Dennis, who just twitched under braking, just made a slight mistake on cold tyres, and then as he got onto the inside of the circuit, then it got worse because it was damp and he just skittled straight off into the pack. So Simkowiak has made it back. The car is going to take a bit of fixing, and that car is going to take a bit of work as well. Completely bent up, isn't it? And so too was Jules Simkowiak's car. But the good news is that Roy was able to walk away from that. So hard luck for both of those drivers, whose race ends before it really begins. And not for the first time, for about, I think, the 7th time this weekend, the safety car has had to be deployed. So while we're watching all of that, the thing I was about to talk about before it all kicked off was what a good start Ocon had made, and indeed he's got into 2nd place. So Verstappen is the leader, then Ocon is 2nd, King is 3rd, Ferrucci's 4th, and into 5th place has come Sean Galal, the Indonesian driver, who started 12th. So Sean Galal in 5th place, Menezes 6th, Giovinazzi 7th, Calderon's up to 8th place, only lady driver in the race. Here's a replay then, and I'm not sure we'll see too much from this. Well, there's Simkowiak far right of the picture, and just tangled, didn't they? It looked like there was plenty of room for them both to get down through there. Not really sure why they managed to tangle with each other, but they were out far side of the circuit then. Roy gets sent into the barriers, and then look at Jake Dennis as he brakes here on the damp piece of the circuit. The car out of control, he skittles at the inside, and as he rejoins, well, out of control, then he caused this pile-up, and this is a result really of the track still being damp off the line, and one or two drivers getting caught out by that. So lots of drivers involved in that. We've lost Tom Blomqvist out of this, unfortunately. We know we lost Roy Nassani, we've lost Jules Simkowiak. We've got Felix Rosenquist at the back of the field in 21st position. We've got Lucas Auer 18th. And that car's not going any further. Completely bent up front left suspension on his car, where he made that contact with Roy Nassani. The two of them managing to run into each other. Here's the last of the cars to be taken away then from the hairpin, just as the safety car leads the rest of the field round. Jake Dennis, his weekend ends on a very disappointing note. And the team that's had a real nightmare on that first lap is Muka Motorsport, because Roy Nassani is one of their drivers. He's in the wall, and then their other two drivers, Felix Rosenquist and Lucas Auer, at the sharp end of the field. Of course, they got caught out with that Jake Dennis incident. So the three Muka Motorsport cars, Peter Muka's team, a very experienced squad from Berlin, who in the past have run drivers like Sebastian Vettel in Formula BMW, and they have had a real disaster. The only bright point for them is that they have a collaboration these days with Joe Zeller Racing, for whom Tatiana Calderon drives, and Tatiana has managed to go from 23rd up to 8th place. There she is in the number 18 car, the orange car, driver with the blue helmet. The safety car is going to stay out for at least another lap. Drivers taking the opportunity to get some heat into the tyres, and it proves the point that around a street circuit, where there's not much runoff, where it's always tight into the first corner, which is a hairpin, which always causes dramas because it's the tightest corner here. Got the most cars going into it on the first corner. There's not really space for everybody unless they're all sensible. If somebody makes a slight mistake, it's just a chain reaction. And so it proves the point that qualifying is so important here to get yourself up the front and away from potentially any of that trouble. And I would have thought Felix Rosenquist will feel particularly aggrieved at having qualified up the front in 3rd place. He still managed to get tagged by somebody. But he hasn't gone into the pits. He's kept out there, so has Lucas Auer. And it seems that he's going to continue on and hope that the car is not too badly damaged. So Verstappen, Ocon and King are the top three. And Max Verstappen will now bunch them up. The safety car peels off into the pit lane, and the race is about to get underway properly here. Once again, see how wet it is there, just out of the last turn. If you go off the racing line, pretty wide there, though, thankfully. Wani's going into the pits, but Verstappen, Ocon and King come through. Ferrucci in a magnificent 4th place at the moment. Gial looking for his best result of the season there in the yellow Jugonia I am with Carling car. He's running in a season's best 5th position as well, so they make their way through the hairpin safely this time, hopefully. Latifi is the one that went into the pits, so Nicholas Latifi has gone into the pits now, the 17-year-old Canadian who's been racing in Formula 3 for a few seasons now, in Italian Formula 3, then European and British Formula 3 last year, but the number 1 car going into the pits, and that's the change. The front of the car, so the Prema Power team, who lead the Teams Championship and who won the championship last year, changing the front wing on that car. Very easy to lose a lap here, though, because it is such a short lap. A visit to the pits probably will put him a lap down as the leader comes through. There he goes, Max Verstappen, 0.8 of a second clear of Esteban Ocon. In 3rd place, it's King. Tatiana Calderon, who is on a charge here, having had her best result of the season so far at Spa when she got 5th place. He's trying to get even higher at the points. Her target is to get ahead of Gustavo Meneses, who also had a very good run at Spa, which was the previous round where he managed to finish on the podium, not once but twice, with a couple of 3rd place finishes. So Calderon looking to extend her, increase the number of points that she scored this season. Jordan King there in 3rd place, pulling away now from 4th and 5th positions. And here we go, here's a challenge from Tatiana Calderon, the number 18 car, trying to get around Fabrizio Giovinazzi, but Fabrizio was wise to it all and just kept the car on the racing line, didn't make any mistakes. But now he's going to give a tow to Tatiana Calderon in this battle for 7th place. Those two came together in the race yesterday when Tatiana was slow coming out of the hairpin, having been forced into the barriers. He didn't see her at all as he came out of that hairpin, and right here, coming out of the exit of the hairpin, and managed to run straight into the back of her. Went right up in the air and was quite badly winded by it, but happily has been able to continue for the rest of the weekend. We've got Alex Terrell up in the top 10 as well, the young Spaniard, another of the 17-year-olds, and he potentially looking for his best result of the season so far as well. We've had not too many points finishes so far this year. Terrell, in fact, he hasn't had a points finish. 12th is his best result, so he's looking for his first points of the season. There he is in the white car just going through now, the number 12 car of the Spaniard, one of the 3 Bonds with T-Sport entered cars. The engine's prepared by Neil Brown Engineering. Only those cars with engines from Neil Brown. Everybody else either run the Volkswagen or the Mercedes engine. And going out super wide down, I think possibly was Latifi getting out of the way of everybody else. Will be a lap down now, having had his visit to the pits. Verstappen still leading. Yes, it was Latifi getting out of the way, not with somebody making a mistake. And absolutely sliding the car through there was number 21, Felix Sorales, the Puerto Rican, currently in 14th place at the start of the lap. There's Latifi trying to stay out of everybody's way in the number 1 car. He's way down the order in 21st position now. And they're trying to get past him now. To lap him is number 11, Spike Goddard, the Australian, who's also been in the wars a bit this weekend. And Felix Rosenquist is behind him. So Felix has made a few places up here in the orange number 27 Muka Motorsport car. Verstappen extends his lead ever so slightly to 1.1 seconds now over Esteban Ocon, the championship leader. But again, he's looking to take points away from the Frenchman's lead in the standings. Fastest first sector of anybody so far in the race from Jordan King there in 3rd position. So Jordan King starting to get the hammer down now. He's just shy of 2 seconds behind the race leader. He's only 0.8 of a second behind Esteban Ocon though in 2nd place. Galal still hanging on to 4th position. 5th position for Ferrucci now. And 6th place for Meneses. 7th for Giovinazzi. Still in 8th place is Calderon. 9th and 10th in the points also to Real. And Mitch Gilbert, the Australian driver, who has been picking up points here and there this season. And there's 1 or 2 decent runs in the race, Gilbert. So through down into the Grundig hairpin they go once again. 1.2 seconds is now the advantage that the race leader has. There he is, Max Verstappen on the cards. Win number 7 of the season. He's already the most winning driver this year. He's got 1 more win now than the championship leader Esteban Ocon, but Esteban has had more podiums, more points finishes, and less DNFs. Been 3 DNFs for Max Verstappen, all coming in the early part of the season. Ocon there sets the fastest first sector, but Verstappen is quicker in the middle of the lap. Jordan King, though, the Carlin driver, hanging on to them in third place. So let's have a look at a replay. I think this was going out wide there. That was just Latifi deliberately staying out of everybody's way, having been in the pits. But there, in the background, was number 14 having dramas. Felipe Grimari, not for the first time this weekend, and he's broken the front left wheel. And there, contact between Jean Galal and Ferrucci. So that's how fourth place changed. Galal by a long way now on his best result in the Formula 3 Championship, up to fourth place, profiting from all this drama that we've had. But from 12th on the grid, he's got himself in a good position here. And this is the battle for second place, with Jordan King matching Esteban Ocon, but not really closing the gap at the moment. 2 seconds covering the top 3 cars. Out across the start-finish line once again comes Max Verstappen. And he sets a new fastest lap of the race, 48.803. He's only 25 thousandths of a second quicker than Ocon, who in turn is less than a tenth quicker than Jordan King. Out through the first corner they go, accelerating now towards the Scholler S's. Brake down to third gear, right then left, and there's some drama further back here. That's Fuoco, isn't it, having a move up the inside. Number 25 right behind him is Hector Hurst, having a really good race here. Number 22, Hector, from 24th on the grid. It seems if you couldn't be at the front of the grid, maybe the place to be for the races here at the Norris Ring was the back of the grid, because several times this weekend Hector Hurst there in the number 22 car, one of the Westech cars, the multiple Formula 3 European Championship winning team. Several times this weekend the British driver has been able to gain an absolute ton of places, because there's been drama ahead of him and he's picked his way through, and again he's made up bags of places here. So through go the top 3, and here for fourth place, Ferrucci's trying to come back around the outside of Sean Galal on the way into the Grundy hairpin. He won't do it on the way into the corner, and he won't do it coming out of the corner either, because Sean Galal's got plenty of traction there. So this is the battle for 4th and 5th positions, and you've got Gustavo Meneses coming at them as well, the American driver, running just behind them in 6th place. Meneses looks to be slightly quicker than them at the moment. He's bringing with him Giovinazzi and Calderon, and at the back of that group in 9th place is the white car of Alex Tyrrell. Sean Galal having a really good drive here. He's picked his way through. He's ridden his luck, I suppose, but he picked his way through all those incidents to get to this position. The 17-year-old from Jakarta, former kart racer like many of these, but also did a bit of junior rallying. And then his first season of car racing in 2012 was in the Formula Pelota Championship. He's having to defend here, though, from young Santino Ferrucci, a 16-year-old from Connecticut. He was an American karting champion in the Rotax category for 125cc karts. Came up like so many talented Americans through the Skip Barber series and Winter series. And the second visit to the pits now for Nicholas Latifi. And I wonder if this might be the end of the race for him. The car is not well. He didn't come in with damage the first time. I suspect it's a technical gremlin. And there's no particular drama or rush here, is there? So, Prema Power Team, more disappointment for their driver, Nicholas Latifi. Gets some good results, and then he gets other weekends that are just not working out for him. Now, Tatiana Calderon, having been on the attack a couple of laps ago, he's now coming under fire herself from Alex Tyrrell, who, not satisfied with his first points of the season, wants to get even higher up the order. Q now starting to fall behind Sean Galal, and running out wide there is the orange car of Tatiana Calderon, the Josella Racing driver, the Colombian, coming under attack now from the Spaniard. He's going to have to go off the line to get through here, and the line is still, as we've already found out in this race, damp. So he has to be careful as he tries to pick his way through the order. Not Mitch Gilbert, the Fortec driver, not too far behind either. As we see Ferrucci going back to 4th place, back ahead of Sean Galal. What a young talent this is. And Meneses is going to have a go as well on the way into the hairpin. Sean Galal will have to concede 2 places. He's got Giovinazzi not too far behind him as well. So the Italian will now have a go. The British-based Italian now living in Eastbourne. The 19-year-old Giovinazzi having a good race here. Another front-runner in karting he was a couple of seasons ago. He also raced in the Formula Pelota Championship against Sean Galal 2 seasons ago, so they know each other well. They're now teammates. Torrell's run out wide there as he attempts again to try and get past Calderon, but again it doesn't quite work out for him. The white car there, the orange helmet, Torrell. Then you got Mitch Gilbert, and then you got Antonio Fuoco making a move just behind. Lucas Auer alongside him. Actually started the lap with Fuoco ahead, but I think Auer had just nosed in front. straight away. Fuoco gets the place back. This was a late piece of braking from Gustavo Meneses as he got up the inside and pounced and made himself get through, then ahead of Sean Galal, who lost not 1 but 2 places from 4th down to 6th. So it's now Verstappen, then Ocon, 2 seconds almost is the difference between them. King in 3rd, Ferrucci 4th, Meneses 5th, Galal 6th, Giovinazzi 7th, Calderon 8th, Toril 9th, and Gilbert in the final points paying position in 10th place, but with Antonio Fuoco only a second behind him, and Fuoco is a couple of tenths quicker per lap. So the Ferrari back driver, the Italian, who started 7th, trying to fight his way back up the order here. We've already lost Jake Dennis, Jules Simkoviak, Tom Blomqvist, and of course Roy Nissany from that first lap. We've lost Ramirez, and we've also lost Latifi now. So 1 or 2 dropping out of contention here, as we see Mitch Gilbert moving up the order and picking up some more points. So Gilbert now trying to catch back up to Alexander Toril. He's about a couple of car lengths back, but he's got right behind him Lucas Auer. Lucas trying to come back around the outside of him there on the way into the Grundig hairpin. It looks spectacular, it works for a second, but the exit speed isn't there because he had to get too hard on the brakes. And the Muka Motorsport driver will have to sit behind again there in the number 3 car, trying to recover. Don't forget, Lucas Auer has been on the podium both times this weekend so far. He started the race in 10th place, but like Felix Rosenqvist, he got caught up in that huge pilot that we had at the Grundig hairpin. Now, though, he goes for it. Up the inside of the Australian goes the Austrian. He's trying to take Fuoco with him as well in the number 25 Prema Power Team car. The Muka man gets through. Mitch Gilbert in the Fortec car splashes through the puddles as he goes onto the start-finish line, looks in the mirrors, checks one way, checks the other. Antonio Fuoco will pull out of the slipstream now in the green, white and red car, the Prema Power Team car. Will have to go the long route, though, around the outside. He'll also have to keep an eye on his mirrors because he's got Felix Sorali's not too far back behind him in the blue Westec car. And in the end, nobody makes a position here, but Fuoco, he's determined to get through. Looks the quicker of the two. Be difficult to get through here, though. He's going to try and squeeze through the second part of the shoulder races. That's a great move. And Sorali's goes with him, and Gilbert slows. So Gilbert got completely off the line there, and he's either got a problem or he just lost all grip through the shoulder races, and he's lost 3 or 4 places as a result of that. You've got Felix Rosenqvist followed him through as well, so Rosenqvist is getting ever closer to the points, having been almost plumb last in this race after that first corner incident. We've got still just under 16 minutes left on the clock, so I think we'll have time to get all the laps in here. 2.2 seconds, the personal best first sector for the race leader Verstappen. He's just creeping away, not much faster than Esteban Ocon. It's just a bit here and a bit there, and he's just breathing out that gap now. Ocon in turn is almost as far clear as Verstappen is of him in terms of the gap back to King in 3rd place. Ferrucci in 4th position, the Meneses in 5th place. And the gap between those two, not very much at all. So this will be the one to watch here, 4th and 5th, here they come. Then you've got Galal, who has dropped back a little bit from them now. Giovinazzi, he's not exactly breathing down his neck though, and it looks like Calderon, then Toril, and then Auer, and the next one's through. So Auer into 10th place now, Fuoco 11th, Soralis 12th, Rosenqvist in 13th place as his frustrating season continues here at the Norris Ring. More than halfway into the championship, and it doesn't look like it's going to be Felix's year. But his PR manager Matthias talking to us earlier in the weekend, saying that plans are afoot to progress for Felix, whether or not he wins the championship. As Lucas Auer now makes a move on Alexander Toril. Good clean move that. A little bit of smoke coming from the tyres as he locked up the brakes, but that was a great move. But Alex Toril will try and come back at him now. The young Spaniard will pick up the toe. Lucas will be aware of this, so he'll just sit on the inside line here and make Alex go the long way around. Alex has got his nose in front here, but there's a left-hander coming up. Lucas will have the better line through the corner, and eventually the move will be completed. So that's a change for 9th place. Still in the points though, still looking for his first points of the season is the young 17-year-old Alex Toril. There he is. Mom and dad both rallying competitors. His older brother Miguel racing GT cars, 7th in last year's International GT Open Championship, racing across Europe in a Mercedes SLS AMG. And and racing in the Blancpain series this year with the Fortet team. European Formula 3 Open for Alex a couple of years ago, 5th in the European F3 Open Championship last year, but now up into this most competitive of Formula 3 championships, the FIA European Series for Alex, who's had 1 or 2 races where he's got close to the points, but this looks like his best chance yet. Already though, you can see that Lucas Auer there and the Muka Motorsport car pulling away. As I say that though, he makes a mistake and locks up on the way into the Grundig hairpin and pushes a bit too hard. He's got a big gap now to try and close to Tatiana Calderon. He's 1.6 seconds behind her if he wants to get the Austrian up to 8th place, as we look at Felix Rosenqvist trying to find his way up ahead of the Westek car of Felix Sorales. So Verstappen leads the Volkswagen-powered Van Amersfoort racing car. In second position, Esteban Ocon from 4th on the grid in the Mercedes-Benz-powered Prema Power Team car. And also with Volkswagen power, the Carlin car of Jordan King, looking for his 2nd podium of the day. Having had a couple of podiums at the start of the season, 1 at Silverstone and 1 at Hockenheim. Bit of a barren spell in terms of podiums since then for Jordan King. Didn't have a finish yesterday when he looked competitive, and damage to the car and out of the points, but he's come back really well today. He drove exceptionally well in the wet conditions, the second part of the race, which was very wet. After it was stopped earlier on, as I said, when they all started on slicks, the rain came down and the officials took the correct decision to stop the race. Didn't look like it was raining that much at the time, but it certainly did start to pour down a few minutes later. They could see it coming, and they could see it would be way too dangerous to continue without letting everybody change onto the treaded rubber. So 48.6 seconds for the race leader, 48.8 for Ocon in 2nd place. This is the battle you're looking at here for 12th position, as Felix Rosenqvist pulls out of the slipstream now, trying to get alongside Felix Sorales, the Puerto Rican based in Northampton, living with, has been living with John Miller, one of the co-owners of the team. Runs the team alongside Gavin Wills, who is no mean Formula Ford racer himself, multiple champion. The Westek man keeps his nose in front. Felix has dropped back, if anything. So this tight battle for 12th position continues as a big gap back then to the next driver, which is Spike Goddard in 14th place, Hector Hurst 15th, John Bright Meisner, the Swedish driver, in 16th, then Mitch Gilbert struggling now down in 17th place. So it looks like it was a technical problem for him. He's just trying to get the car home now. As we see Alexander Torils coming under attack here from Antonio Fuoco. This is for the final place in the top 10, the final point. And surely Antonio's going to go through here at the inside. Alexander Toril will have to back off the throttle, otherwise he'll be in the wall. And that was a good move from the Italian. So Antonio Fuoco, who's 5th in the championship coming into this event, makes the move. And could there be some more points in the bag here for him? Well, quite likely. He's now got to try and hunt down Lucas Auer. So you've got Auer and Fuoco both moving back up through the field. Calderon will be their next target in 8th place. And Lucas Auer has just set a personal best in Sector 2 to take a couple of tenths away from Calderon, although Calderon was a bit quicker through the first sector. So he's not exactly flying after the Colombian. She's doing a good job here in 8th place, looking for a 2nd best finish of the season. After she had a torrid race yesterday, as I say, she was squeezed into the wall coming out of the final hairpin, and as she tried to recover, then she had Giovinazzi driving into the back of her completely. He was unsighted, couldn't see the car, didn't expect it to be going that slowly, tried to avoid but didn't, and quite a heavy accident. But both drivers happily were absolutely fine. You can see them running out wide over the paving there, which you stay well away from in wet conditions. It's very slippy, but in the dry you want to let the car run out as much as you can, keep the throttle buried and deliver the 240 brake horsepower as much as you can. Felix Rosenqvist has a go here then for 12th place on Felix Sorales. He's drawn alongside, but Felix gets his elbows out again, and Sorales is not going to make this easy, and why should he? So Sorales hangs on to the place for the time being, but he will come under attack again from Rosenqvist, who's going to have to try the inside line here. The outside line just doesn't work, so through he comes. That's a lovely move from Felix Rosenqvist, timed to perfection, and the Swede comes through, dropping down from 6th down to 1st gear for that hairpin, accelerating back away now through this 3rd gear section. 125 kilometres the entry, and then the exit as they balance the throttle and work their way out through. And look how close he gets to the wall on the exit to the corner. Here's a replay of the move, and this is textbook stuff really. Pulls out of the slipstream at the last possible second, gets the line, and he doesn't overshoot, he doesn't overdo it. Once he's alongside, he knows he's got the position, he knows he's got the track, and he's got the line, and he doesn't need to fully be in front, he just needs to be alongside at that point. Slow motion shots of Max Verstappen, the race leader now by a clear 4 seconds. He's exactly 4 seconds clear of Esteban Ocon, the championship leader, at the start. So it looks like we're going to have the second half of the season where Max Verstappen is trying to charge down this points deficit to the championship leader Esteban Ocon. As I say already, he scored 50 points and Ocon has only scored 18. So he's already taken 32 points out of him. If it stays like this, he'll end the weekend having closed the gap by 39 points in total. If he can keep doing that, there'll only be a few events before he's up there with Ocon. So Ocon knows he hasn't got to go and win all the races now. He knows he's got this cushion, and if he can't win, and he can keep picking up second, third, fourth place finishes, he should still be okay for the championship. But certainly, Verstappen is giving him something to think about here, and he's a lot less comfortable than he was. So further down inside the top 10 then, we've got this battle going on with Sean Gallal 6th, Maurizio Giovinazzi right behind him in 7th place. And then in 8th place, Tatiana Calderon and Lucas Auer, teammates of sorts. Joe Zeller racing. Joe Zeller, the multiple, many-time Swiss Formula 3 champion, whose son Zandro also has been racing this weekend. But they have a partnership with Muka Motorsport. Tatiana Calderon only joining the team at the very last minute at the 11th hour at the start of the season, having switched from the signature team who just didn't have a competitive car, so withdrew from the championship, the French squad. And really starting to gel now, and we've seen what Tatiana can do. She's doing well here. She's in 8th place, but she has got the much quicker Lucas Auer on her case now. So 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th in a train. Foucault's trying to catch them up as well. Alexander Terrell running a little bit wide there down at the hairpin, and so he's out of the points now. Rosenqvist might well be through to 11th position altogether. Yes, I think he has got through because of that. So Rosenqvist in the background there, picking up another place up to 11th, but still out of the points for the Swede, as the Austrian Lucas Auer continues his charge up the order. Lucas has had just the one win this season, but multiple visits to the podium. 3rd in the championship, 19 years of age, from St. Johann. First season of Formula 3 was in the German run ATS F3 Cup, where he finished as the runner-up. And here he goes up the inside, and a nice clean move again from Lucas Auer to get ahead of Tatiana Calderon, and that now puts him back up to 8th place. Don't forget, at one point he was almost at the back of the field. In fact, the car was parked, just couldn't get through. All the carnage at the hairpin. Luckily, it didn't get damaged. The safety car, of course, quickly bunched them all up, and while the various debris was cleared, gave him a chance to gather his thoughts, and he's done very well here to get back up the order. So there is Lucas in the number 3 car with the orangey helmet, and I suspect this will be a replay of the move now. Came from quite a long way back, the door was left open, and he wasn't needing to be asked twice to get that move pulled off. See, Felix Morales is just on the case of Alex Toril now, who's trying to hang on to 12th place and his joint best finish of the season so far. Look at the gap, though, that Max Verstappen has. 4.5 seconds now over Esteban Ocon. Jordan King goes through in 3rd, and then there's nobody. Then there's a huge gap back to 4th place. And it's still Ferrucci and Meneses getting closer now, though, so this is the next battle to keep an eye on. Ferrucci and Meneses separated by just a few tenths of a second, and Meneses not messing around, straight away has a go. We've already seen that sort of move from Gustavo before. It worked last time, it doesn't quite work this time. Meneses had a go though, and that was well worth doing, because when you get up to somebody, if you can get them by surprise straight away, that's the time to do it. The longer you sit behind them, the more they're aware of what you're capable of doing, and the more they're prepared to defend and better prepared to put the car in the right place. So Meneses had a go, didn't quite work out for him. As we can see, Lucas Auer now is quickly in the first of the orange cars there, up onto the tail now of Giovinazzi, trying to get 7th place away from the man in the number 19 car. Here is Lucas Auer. He's not messing around either. Straight away he pulls out of the slipstream, just shows his nose in the mirror and tries to put the pressure onto the Italian. Both of them let the cars run out wide as they get the throttle down. Sean Gallal not that far ahead either, running in 6th place. So certainly 6th place is on the cards here, even in the closing stages of the race. 3 minutes left on the clock. If you can get quickly ahead of the Italian, then Lucas Auer might just have time to catch Sean Galal. Certainly, it's been a very good drive through, and he's already picking up points here, which looked unlikely when we were at the start of the race. Through they go. 36 laps now completed in the race. Verstappen, Ocon and King looking all set for the podium. A tight battle for 4th place between Ferrucci and Meneses. And then this, the battle for 6th place, led at the moment by Sean Galal. Fabrizio Giovinazzi in 7th, and then Lucas Au, the next one through, having had this tremendous charge through the field. Tatiana Calderon still in the points in 9th place. Antonio Fuoco is coming up to her though. There he is, look, the Prema Power Team car. The Italian in 10th place into the points. And Felix Rosenquist also flying. He won't want to finish 11th and not score any points, so he's trying to catch up as well, just in the background. So it's going to be a grandstand finish to this race, not at the front of the field, not for the top 3, but for every other position. It looks pretty tight, doesn't it? Although Ferrucci's pulled back away now from Meneses. The gap's opened up to 1.3, 1.4 seconds as, there you go, Lucas Au glares into the corner, keeps an eye on what his competitor is doing, tries to find a way through, tries to pick a piece of tarmac where there's no Italian to get in his way, but it's very difficult here to get through on that link up to the S's, so he'll have to be patient and maybe have another go at the next hairpin. Giovinazzi driving well here though to keep the Austrian behind him. Quite a bit of pressure coming from the Muka Motorsport driver. He's absolutely the quicker of the two. He can't get through at the moment. If he runs ever so slightly off the line, Giovinazzi is going to invite Auer to have a go here. It's a difficult measure of having to brake super late to make sure they don't come storming down the inside of you, but don't brake too late so that you run wide through the corner. Here he comes, Lucas Auer. Inside line is covered. He's only got one choice now. That's to go for the outside line. It's going to be a big risk. He'll run wide into the corner. He'll try and cut back on the inside, but no, Giovinazzi puts the car in exactly the right place once again and will hold on to this 7th place. It's not for the want of trying though, is it? Lucas Auer is throwing everything at this. I think it was for a race win the way he's going for it, but he knows that every point counts in this championship. And he's losing points to the two ahead of him in the point standings because they are 1st and 2nd in the race. Ocon, the championship leader, 2nd. Max Verstappen, 2nd in the points, leading the way. Looking for a hat-trick here this weekend and going on to the final lap with a 5.2 second advantage. There he is, the race leader, Max Verstappen. I think we're running out of superlatives to describe this young man. He's been absolutely brilliant this season, and with a triple win at Spa, it looks like he's going to win all 3 races here as well. Here's this queue forming up now. Lucas Auer trying to get in on the mix. Tatiana Calderon running out wide and losing a place there to Antonio Fuoco, who's up to 9th place now. And Felix Rosenquist is on the back of the group as well, desperately trying to pick up a point as the flag comes out. And it's win number 7 of the season for Max Verstappen, 6 on the trot. He is closing the gap, no doubt about it, to Esteban Ocon, who still keeps getting on the podium, but who hasn't won for a while now. The championship leader given something to think about here at the Norris Ring. Jordan King in 3rd place. Ferrucci is going to get his best result so far. He's only had 2 weekends. He gets 4th place, Ferrucci, to add to the 5th from earlier on today. Meneses in 5th place, Sean Galal 6th. Giovinazzi hangs on to 7th. Lucas Auer couldn't find a way through and has to settle for 8th place in the end. Fuoco in 9th, and then Calderon clinging on to the final point by almost nothing. Felix Rosenquist was right alongside her as they went across the line, but she gets the point, and the team absolutely delighted. Van Amersfoort Racing have another win with their man Max Verstappen. They must be so delighted that he chose to come to their team, having run their father 21 years ago when he raced in the Formula Opel Championship, and now got another young Dutch superstar on their books. Max Verstappen wins, Esteban Ocon 2nd, Jordan King on the podium, and that is the moment that Max got his 3rd win of the weekend. So, as I say, he's now taken 39 points this weekend out of the advantage of Esteban Ocon. He's moved up to 2nd place in the standings as a result of that. And again, how impressive is this? On the toughest of street circuits, in the toughest of championships, the rookies just keep on coming. 1st and 2nd for 2 rookies here, Verstappen and Ocon, and 4th for the next best rookie, Ferrucci. Absolutely brilliant from all concerned. Jordan King, last year's Rookie of the Year, in 3rd place. And job done, Max. That is 10 out of 10. Absolutely perfect stuff from Verstappen. And he just keeps coming. he's not going to change what he's doing because it's working like a dream at the moment. And in a way, the pressure is going to start to turn now, because the pressure a couple of meetings ago was on Max to start getting the results, start getting the wins. Otherwise, the championship might be getting away from him. Now, suddenly the shift of pressure is on Ocon, who was romping away with it, and he's still got a healthy lead in the championship, but it's dwindling. Verstappen then the winner. There's confirmation of the results. Ocon in second, Jordan King third, Santino Ferrucci in fourth place, Menezes, Galal, Giovinazzi, Auer, Fuoco and Calderon also in the points. Felix Rosenquist, by the tiniest of margins, misses out on a point. Alex Tyrrell equals his best result of the season so far with 12th. Lots of disappointment along the way, particularly for Jake Dennis, Roy Nassani, Julson Kowiak and Tom Blomqvist, who's been desperately unlucky this weekend, all out on the first lap of the race. Here then are some slow-mo shots of our top three here at the Norris Ring. In third place, Jordan King. Second place, and yet another visit to the podium. Only 3 times has he not been on the podium this season. Esteban Ocon, the championship leader. But the winner, and the man that's coming after him as we go into the second half of the season, is Max Verstappen, winner of the race. We've had 18 races now, and Max has managed to win 7 races. Perfect drive then from Max Verstappen, a superstar in the making, make no doubt about it. In a tough competitive field, at the moment, nobody can live with him. And all credit to the team as well. Van Amersfoort Racing are giving him the car, they're delivering the equipment, and he is making the most of it. The Dutch team celebrate their 40th anniversary next year. A team run and managed by Frits van Amersfoort. Really good effort. Various ATS Formula 3 Cup Championship titles to the team's name. German F3 Championship title. The team only finished 7th in the championship last year with their drivers, but they might well be higher up this year. Premier Power Team continue to lead the team's championship, but there is the race winner. Van Amersfoort look good for a top 3 in the team's championship, thanks to this man. Max Verstappen on the top step of the podium. And there, Van Amersfoort, absolutely delighted. The Dutch team take more trophies, this time for the team win. Next up onto the podium, we'll get our second place man, Esteban Ocon. Something to think about here for the French driver, but he will be still satisfied with just the sheer number of points that he's rattling up at each and every round. And then in third place, well done to Jordan King. He started the weekend 9th of the championship. He should be a fair bit higher than that now when we see the points later on. That's his 4th podium of the season. And now we'll have the national anthem of our winning driver, Max Verstappen. Perfect weekend for Max Verstappen. He'll now receive the winner's trophy. He's got a fair old collection to try and squeeze into the trailer on the way home. Not only is he going to pick up another winner's trophy, as Wolfgang Schossack presents the trophy to him. Of course, he's going to pick up a winner's trophy for the rookie championship as well, for the rookie win. So he's got 6 trophies this weekend, taking back to his home in Belgium. Thomas Dill, the clerk of the course here. It's been a very busy weekend trying to manage all of this. Presents the trophy to our winning team, Van Amersfoort. Terrific season it's turning out to be for them. Their 39th year as a championship team, as a motorsport team. And Wolfgang Schosser, the chairman of the Nürburgring Motorsport Club, presents the second place trophy to Esteban Ocon. Not exactly looking delighted, is he? Relatively satisfied and fairly pleased, I think is the expression there, but not elated. He's definitely coming under a bit of pressure now. Thomas Dill now presents the trophy to, very happy, Jordan King. Well done to the British Formula 3 champion. Acquitted himself very well here after a difficult start to the weekend yesterday. Didn't have a great qualifying either in the first qualifying session, even though he looked very quick. He was very aggressive, in particular through the Scholler S's, but the weekend got much better once we got to Sunday for Jordan. So Max Verstappen in the middle of the picture, Esteban Ocon and Jordan King pose for photos. And then, of course, it'll be time for the traditional champagne spray. And then two of them will have to come back for the rookie podium, not so Jordan King. Here we go then, final podium of the weekend. And they're going to absolutely get splattered now. Max Verstappen getting used to this taste, isn't he? So too Esteban Ocon and Jordan King, with really overall what's been his best weekend since the very first weekend at Silverstone. He also had a pretty good weekend at Hockenheim, but back to form for Jordan King. So one or two pieces of bad luck along the way. So the Drivers' Championship, Esteban Ocon is now on 304 points. The gap this morning was 106 points. He's now only 74 points clear of Max Verstappen. Lucas Auer in third place still. Tom Blomqvist has had a miserable weekend. All sorts of bad luck for Tom. One to forget for the British driver there in fourth. Antonio Fuoco in fifth place in the standings. A good comeback drive there to pick up ninth place. And now we have the rookie podium here at the Norris Ring. And it will be Max Verstappen, of course, once again, and Esteban Ocon, because they were the top two in the race. And for the second time today, then we'll get Santino Ferrucci up onto the podium, the American driver, third place in the rookie event. There is young Max. Back he comes. Is Esteban Ocon. Two very nice, likeable young men, those. Very intelligent young men. Very mature for their ages. Lots of these young racing drivers tend to be. And now we get the national anthem once again of Max Verstappen. So for the sixth time this weekend, Max Verstappen listens to the Dutch national anthem as he is now presented with the Rookie Winners Trophy. He's going to require a bit of excess baggage when he goes home. I think with all this silverware, he's going to have to carry back on the plane with him. Esteban Ocon, definitely not deliriously happy there, is he, in second place? If second and third places are your worst results, not too bad a season, is it? And here's another one to watch. He won't be featuring in the championship because he missed too many rounds at the start of the year, but Ferrucci, if he comes back to the championship next year, they better watch out. This young man, he's a real talent. Well done him. So there then, the top three on the podium here. What's been a terrific weekend of the FIA Formula 3 European Championship at the Norris Ring. Next up, we go to somewhere very different, to Moscow, in a month's time for three more fantastic races. And Max Verstappen will try to keep up the momentum and try to keep closing that gap to Esteban Ocon, and there's plenty of time for him to do it. After that, the Red Bull Ring. After that, it's at the Nürburgring, Imola, then Hockenheim. So there's still plenty of opportunities to trip up the championship leader, and I think he knows it. Esteban Ocon leads the way, but by a reduced margin, as we have enjoyed a fantastic weekend of action here at the Norris Ring. Thanks for watching.